Hey everybody, it's your old buddy, Uncle Rich here for Who's Telling the Truth. Judy, where's our bugs? Let's get our bugs up here so people know what they're watching. And guys, today is a very special occasion. Tonight, we're going to introduce you to my best friend in the world. Here's our bugs. A guy that I met for the first time tonight, Mr. David Streit. So, Judy, can you put Dave up and can you put his name up there? Dave,
Brother Rich,
I want to
it's a
welcome
treat to
Rich.
be here. You know, every time you call in on our show, our ratings skyrocket. Everybody loves Rich. Richie calls in, it's great. So it's always got to have the counter argument. And what you probably also mentioned that the other three guests you had lined up for tonight couldn't make it, and that I always show up. I'm like this. I'm like the Ed McMahon of TV. I show up when everybody else cancels.
Very good. I applaud you for your wit, and it's nice to have you here. And guys, what happened? Judy, you got to be a little nimble today, okay? Dave does a show a lot of times. Judy, can you come back to me?
No, that's okay. See, the camera just wants like this natural attraction, right?
Why don't you go through all three cameras and we'll see how we look? Can you do the? I like that one. Hey, look, that's a good shot.
Am I sitting up straight?
Yeah, but our heads are
straight here. Watch this. All right, there we go. I should get a different chair. That makes me look.
All right. So anyway, so Dave is normally on a show, and now you want to come back to me with Marty Heiser, and it's called the Marty Heiser Show. Judy.
There we go.
All right, let me try this again. So Dave usually does a show called the Marty Heiser Show with Marty Heiser. And I call in, and they always hang up on me. So tonight, Dave can't hang up on me. So guys, we're going to have some fun. And the name of the show, Judy, can you go to the full shot? The name of the show is Reality. Beautiful. And guys,
I thought it was Who's Telling the Truth.
Well, that's the name of the show, but the title of the show is Reality.
Oh, clever.
And guys, I want it to be known, just so everybody understands, I'm a progressive, liberal Democrat. All right? I've laid my cards on the table. And Dave, I think it would be safe to say that you're a conservative Republican. Am I correct?
Well, you always accuse me of being a Fox News reporter, so I don't know what I am.
No, you spend all your time watching Fox News, but you know.
Well, I just take their talking points,
Okay,
right?
but you're a conservative, right?
Well, I believe that you can make better decisions for your life than the government can.
I mean, a conservative can make better decisions for their life.
No, I think you can too.
I can
So I don't understand why you're always willing to give out the authority and the power over your personal life to someone in Washington and the government. Because you always believe in big government. You always think big government's a good thing, right? Government's going to create laws that are going to protect me. Government's going to create tax laws that are fair and just and redistribute wealth, right? So, I mean, you like more government in your life. Me, I don't like government in my life. I think the less government in my life, the better my life is.
Okay. Well, I don't like more government.
So what's the right amount?
But the government that I want,
yeah,
I want to be working for the benefit of the common folk.
Okay, so do you really believe that the people in government are going to work for your good, or are they going to work for their own good? The people in government work for their own good.
I believe that a majority of the people in the Democratic Party are going to work for the benefit of the common good of the common man.
Can we do a rundown on that?
Sure.
Did Hillary Clinton work for the common good of man when she raised $2 billion for the Clinton Foundation, right? Mm-hmm. Where they gave away less money in a year than they spent on stationery in a year. So do you think taking in that money was somehow or other philanthropic and well-intentioned? And then when they sold, I don't know, 25% of the uranium supply for $120 million.
Hold the phone. Hold the phone.
Who are they looking out for? Are the Clintons looking out for you, Rich?
Hold the phone. Hold the phone. First of all, you're starting to go down a rabbit hole here, and especially with the uranium one crap, because we both know as intelligent human beings that in order for anything to get done with uranium, and the uranium never left the country, we both know that too, but not if you were to watch Fox News. And just like what Fox News did today, with Stormy Daniels, and I watched the Outnumbered, where they have the 4 girls with the 1 guy today. And the one girl says, well, you know, Stormy Daniels lied. She lied. She's an admitted liar. And guys, she did. She said I had to lie to protect myself and my own interests. So she admitted it. But what will happen is the people that watch Fox News will sit there and they'll hear what? They'll hear only one thing. She lied. And therefore, everything else is canceled. And Dave, I'm telling you, this is the one thing that is going to throw this bum out of office.
What's that?
The fact that his lawyer gave $130,000, wrote a check from his own personal account to pay off a porn star, which is against
So why are you discriminating against her for being a porn star?
I'm not discriminating.
Well, you're attaching that label to her.
Well, she's a well-renowned porn star. She's been in the business 25 years. This is how she makes her living.
That sounds like a label to me, but okay.
And she'll be the first to tell you. But the thing is, Trump came after her, and Trump threatened her. And
now, how do we know that? I mean, everything we've gotten out of Washington for the past 2 years.
Wait. Now, don't equate Washington. Everything coming out of Washington is not everything that's coming out of Trump's mouth. And that's important. You're on. Who's telling the truth?
Rich, how are you?
Well, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. You know, I don't often call into the show, but I do watch public access TV because I think it's the best on the planet. That's just my point of view. I'm a simple guy.
Thank you.
From the coal regions. Okay, I'm not my father's Democrat though. Hey, I got a quick one for you. And this whole Stormy Daniels thing is really bothering me. I don't think, and I would hope you agree, that we'll never know what really happened, right? There's one side, there's the other side, and somewhere the truth is in the middle. But there's enough finger pointing here that...
Well, we already know what happened. She just told us on national TV. And she challenged Trump to come out, and she said, listen, big boy, you want to deny me? Come out. We haven't heard from Trump all day on Twitter. He vanished.
Well, I don't disagree. I don't also watch Twitter. I don't tweet and all that stuff. But Rich, here's my question, and this is the one that troubles me. And first of all, Tim Ryan is I think a pretty good representation of the Democratic Party in Ohio. That's a whole other topic I'd love to bring up with you at some point. But I would ask you this: when Paula Jones got paid $835,000, that's with the Clinton with Bill.
Mm-hmm.
That's not being brought up. My point is, we can finger point all day. Every one of them needs to go. Every single one of them. They're all crooked.
Well, you're probably, you know, I would agree with you. The lion's share, I believe. Hey, look at the people that take the bribes from the NRA. It's that simple. You got guys like Marco Rubio who would rather take the money from the NRA than stand up for the kids in his district that he's supposed to represent. Why? Because he's embedded to them. He's taken so much money, he doesn't have a choice. He's got to do what the NRA tells him to do. And that's the way the Republican Party is. The Republican Party is bought, plain and simple. It goes to the highest bidder. And who's the highest bidder? Dave's good buddies, the Koch brothers.
Well, they bought your caller talk.
Rich, you're bouncing all over here. The whole NRA thing, you can be pro-gun and pro-live kids, okay? I got no issue with that. I got an issue with is, if you wanted to go walk into a school, pick a school of your choice, right? You know, there should be some level of security there. I think everybody, again, where's common ground? We're not looking for that these days. We're looking to point fingers at the other. Here's my issue, okay? Here's my issue. If you wanted to go see Governor Malloy today, outside of his office, he has state troopers holding what? some sort of semi-automatic rifles, right? So the state of Connecticut bans those. Yet he has those, yet you couldn't use one of those to protect your family, okay? So hold that thought for a minute, right? You got to ask the common question now, and this is where Malloy's in his own trick box. Every gun in Connecticut, to the best of my knowledge, is registered. Malloy, 2 years ago, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was 2 years ago, he said, hey, go get them. 60 or 70% of the guys that had those that fell under the assault weapons ban were actually law enforcement.
It's true.
I mean, think of the trick box there. These are his own people. And again, I can't tell you why they didn't, Rich.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to end the call on this question.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, though, first. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, I'm going to end it on this note. Why does somebody need an assault weapon to defend their family?
Well, hang on. I'm not, listen.
You don't.
Hang on.
And you don't need one to go hunting. You need one for one reason, to pad the profits of the NRA and the gun manufacturers.
Rich, I got one more piece. Rich, if that's the case, right, why should Malloy have one and you shouldn't? What's the difference, right? Why should Malloy have one and you not? I don't own one.
Well, I'm sure I can have the same weapons that Malloy can as a private citizen, but he's being defended as a public citizen by our tax dollars, by weapons that have been approved by the people in our organizations instead of companies like the NRA. This is what drives me bananas. You've got one part. You've got the greatest lobbying organization in the history of the United States, and the politicians are so indebted to them. The NRA spent $30 million on the last election. Why? And who did they spend it on?
They wanted their guys in, right? Hey,
exactly.
Like Soros wanted theirs in. But I get back to a fundamental question. You couldn't today, and I'm not saying you want to or don't, you couldn't have the AR-15 when Malloy has it. You can't. He should be a common citizen under the same rules. Fundamentally, that's what's wrong with these politicians. Period. I'm not asking for a new I don't want any of that crap.
Okay.
How do you rationalize it? Rich, thanks for the call. Thanks for taking it.
Thanks for calling, buddy. Take care.
I mean, that guy sounded like he's got like a couple PhDs, man. He's not your average caller.
Those guys in the uniform are not dating.
He had you absolutely pinned to the wall on this stuff. Right? Man,
What, sounds like...
Well, but think about that. Now, you made the comment about, the NRA is the biggest lobbying group with all this money. Okay, here's the reality, Rich. 95% of union dues go to what? Democratic candidates. 95%. So the money that the unions are pouring into these elections dwarfs the NRA. Caller, you got a question for us?
Yeah, Dave, it's me, David.
Hey, how are you, buddy?
What's up, buddy? Rich, you've had it, Richard. You've had it, boy. You gotta come on my show, Rich.
All right. Thanks, Simon. Appreciate the call, buddy.
So I've had it, huh?
Well, I mean, but I mean, you made an allegation that that somehow or other that Malloy should be able to be protected at a different level than the private citizens. And I'll ask you this: what the heck is an assault weapon? Can you define an assault weapon for me? Give me an assault weapon.
Dave, let's be honest with you.
No, give me an assault weapon.
Let's not dance around it. You want to buy a little gun to protect your home and your family?
No, I don't.
No, but what I'm saying, if you want to, I don't have a problem.
No, I don't want a little gun, Rich.
I don't need
bigger than the guy coming through my front door.
Dave, who's coming through your front door? What fear do you live in where somebody is coming in your front door? Would you look me in the face and tell me that you live in fear? That every night you go to bed with your alarm set, you got your Doberman pincer poised to attack any? Where do you live? You live in Connecticut. I don't even lock my doors.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
And people, I don't lock my doors.
Note to the listening audience,
Yeah.
Rich has no guns and his doors are unlocked. Make yourself at home.
And I got a little tiny dog.
Yes.
And he'll make some noise, and guess what? I got nothing worth taking. So what are you going to come to my house?
Okay, you got
if
me
you
there.
If you're going to go to somebody's house, go to somebody's like Dave's house.
Well, and the first thing you'll do upon coming out of the premises is meet two of my best friends, Smith and Wesson.
Dave, do you, before you go to bed, do you get down on your knees and pray, dear God, please protect me overnight?
Rich?
Are there reds under your bed?
Rich?
I mean, what possibly has to happen to trigger you to be so scared?
Rich.
Hate and fear, right? Isn't that? And this is what Fox promotes.
Rich.
We can't sell guns unless we're scaring the shit out of people.
Rich.
And this is...
The last thing I do before I go to sleep at night is I fluff up my Glock.
And you're hoping you get a little poof of pleasure at night, right?
I love the smell of gunpowder in the morning, my
Right?
friend.
Yeah.
Okay, but the caller had an excellent point. I mean, you're content with the protected class. You're content to accept that somehow or other there are other people in society that should be allowed a different level of protection than me. And I'm the guy paying the taxes for those people. You know what I think? I think I should have double the protection because they don't exist without me.
Dave,
I pay the bills.
Dave, those are people protected by paid, by paid appointees. The police department, when, we're paying them.
Right, and they show up when? When do they show up? After the crime is committed. Right? Florida shooting, what happened? They secured the perimeter. The shooting was inside, Rich. I love the police force. I really do. They show up. Here's what happens. You're the victim of a crime, and then what do? I call the police. They always show up after the fact. The only one you can count on for your defense, it's you, Rich. It's you.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Okay.
But I mean,
so when you talk about wanting a little gun, no. I want
Dave,
a bigger gun than the other guy.
Yeah, but see,
Never take a knife to a gunfight, Rich.
Why do you insist that something dramatic is going to happen to you?
Okay, you want the answer?
Wait a minute. When was the last armed robbery or shooting we had in the greater Danbury area?
So here's the thing.
Have we had any?
I think that approach is really, really racist. Because you know where the shooting's taking place every day? It's in the inner cities of Chicago, Baltimore, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Detroit. Highly concentrated, groups of blacks, and you don't want them to have guns.
Dave, wait a minute. Hold on.
I think that's
Hold
racist.
on. Where are you getting your information from?
Are you saying that dozens of people are not killed
I'm not saying that dozens of people aren't, but what I'm saying is
not a single gun store in Chicago. Not a single gun store.
What I'm saying is, yeah, because they all come in across the state line.
But that doesn't make any sense.
Well, we got to build a border in Indiana, right? We got to build a wall in Indiana,
But that's
right?
illogical because you would think, based on your logic, the areas that sold the most guns would have the highest crime rates or the highest gun rates, right? Gun crime rates.
Dave,
It's not the case. It's the areas of the country where you can't buy guns that have the highest crime rates.
Dave, it's very simple. It's the guns, stupid. It's the guns. But it's the guns. That's it.
Really?
And you saw?
But you never defined an assault weapon.
Did you see how many? How many millions of people marched this week?
And how many were paid? And how many knew what they were doing there?
Wait a minute. Now, wait, guys, here we go. This is. How many were paid?
So I'm not going to answer
Wait a minute.
that.
No.
Wait a minute.
How many were paid?
Weapon?
How many were paid from whom?
What's an assault weapon?
What's that?
What's an assault weapon?
An assault weapon is something you assault somebody with. What else is it?
So a bat is an assault weapon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be.
Let me see.
Could be used as an assault weapon.
Box cutters are assault weapons.
Could be. Sure.
Guns are assault weapons.
Sure.
Cars are assault weapons.
No. Are you going to physically attack somebody with a car?
How many? Do you read the news?
How many people do you know physically go out and say, I'm going to go buy a car so I can go attack somebody?
In the last year,
stop being ridiculous.
In the last year, there have been dozens of reported attacks by Muslim terrorists ramming their cars into large crowds, killing people.
So now all of a sudden it's Muslim. So now you got to wait a minute.
You said there are
you're
no reported cases.
You're going to tell me the guy that killed 50 people in Las Vegas, that white guy, he was a Muslim? Are you going to
We
tell
were
me the
talking
kid
about
that
cars.
just killed 17 people in Parkland, Florida, was he a Muslim? These
Was
are
he
all
driving a
white
car?
guys. These are white
Was
guys
he
that are
driving a
so
car?
sick in the head because they watch Fox News. and they get everything ass backwards. Dave, do
You
you
were
want,
talking about driving cars into crowds,
Dave,
and you
it's
said
so-
it
but
never
but
happens.
I didn't say it
I'm
didn't
trying
happen.
to
But
define assault weapons.
But what you're trying to do is everything with you guys. It's like just like the other day. I'm watching Fox News, and I watch more Fox News than you do, so that this way, when you try
So
to
you're
tell
balanced.
me where you got your information from, I can go, Dave, I saw the same clip, and you got it ass backwards.
But what's an assault weapon? Give me an assault weapon, Rich.
Dave, an assault weapon is a gun with a magazine that fires 30 bullets. A gun where you can go into a place like Sandy Hook and kill 20 kindergarten kids. That's an assault weapon. But that's okay with you. That's what you want. And you want your Second Amendment right to be able to protect you so that you can go out and buy an assault weapon so that if it falls into the wrong hands, a kid can go in and shoot up any place. That's okay with you. But why? Because it's my Second Amendment right. Dave, the Constitution is a living document. The Constitution
So it should
was,
change
it was
with the
writ-
times.
Exactly.
Really?
Exactly.
So it's just a matter of how you feel at the moment, right?
No, David,
No, it's
in
not.
order to amend the Constitution,
Yeah.
it's a dramatic change.
Yes.
It takes the amount of effort and persuasion that it takes like 75%.
Yeah, I know. And
of the
Democrats
Senate.
tend to be very lazy, and they don't want to do the heavy lifting to change the document, right? I mean, there's a process.
You're going to see the document change this year.
Really?
Oh, without a doubt.
So
you think these kids are going to go away? You think people are
Rich.
going to stand there and listen to you say, I don't have a problem with you coming in with an assault weapon and killing my kid because
You know that's
it's my
really dumb. You know
What?
that's really dumb.
No, Dave, this is what you're
Rich,
saying. This is what you're
Rich,
saying.
okay.
You're saying I'm giving you the right to go out and buy an assault weapon that if you come home with PTSD, if you have an opioid addiction, you can go to your AR-15 and say, you know what? I'm going to settle a score. Maybe I won't go to a school. Maybe I'll go to the mall. Maybe I'll go to a movie. Oh, a nice movie. Maybe I'll go watch a concert.
So really, the goal is to ban all guns.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
really,
Look what happened in Australia.
What happened?
They had one mass killing.
Yeah.
They banned weapons.
Yeah.
And guess what?
What
No
happened?
more.
Okay, do you want to know
No
the truth?
more.
I mean,
Yes.
what's the name of this
Of
show?
course I would like
Who's
to know
telling
the truth. Yes.
Okay, here's what
Yes.
happened,
Okay,
Rich.
what?
There was 10% compliance on people turning in their guns and
Okay,
complying with the gun ban.
okay.
For the 10 years prior to that,
Okay.
gun crimes were on the decline.
Okay.
But they don't give credit to the fact that it was just a natural evolution. Then what happened was in the subsequent 10 years, gun crimes continued to decline. There were about 400,000 guns that were turned in, and how many were brought in illegally? Oh, 400,000. So after 10 years, they had the same number of guns. Those are the facts. I know you don't like them. They're inconvenient.
Source.
So
Source.
reality.
No, source. No, source is when.
Rich,
So no, source is
gonna
when.
have-
Source is when you tell me something, Rich. I got this from the Australian Parliament, and this is their board studies. And here's the statistics.
So
But instead, you're rattling off stuff, and just like the other
you
day,
know, I've never been proven wrong. In the history of
course, no.
TV, I have never been proven wrong.
Well, no, you're
So
a
why would tonight
conservative.
be the
You're
first?
always right, but you're never
Thank
correct.
you. Yes,
But you're never
enlightened.
correct.
I'm always right. You're enlightened. Okay, so I mean, here's the reality. Okay, this beautiful world without guns. Prior to 1350, not a single gun on the planet. Were there murders? Were there mass rapes? Were there mass slaughters of people? Yes.
1350.
Yeah, that's when the first guns came out. 1350. So before then, no guns, Rich. See, isn't it fun to get this enlightenment, right?
Wait a minute. Are you telling me
Yeah.
in medieval times there was no murders, there was no rapes?
No, but you're saying that if there were just no guns, we wouldn't have the murders and rapes and chaos in the cities. Here's what happened.
No, I never said that. You said
no,
that.
you said
No.
a world without guns would be utopia.
No, I said a world without guns would be a better place.
But
It's
I'm
that
saying
simple.
we've tried that and it didn't happen. And
we didn't try that. We evolved and started using guns, and look at the dilemma we're in now.
okay, so let's see. Let's go to areas of the country where they took away guns. Turkey, mass slaughters followed. The Jews, how did it work out for the Jews when they didn't have any guns? Did that work out pretty good for the Jews? See, I think the Democrats have this underlying incredibly racist thing going where the end game for them is blacks in the inner city can't defend themselves, so they get slaughtered. I mean, that's why they put abortion clinics in the inner city, right? The elimination of the black race. That's just true, right?
What? Wait, whoa. Hold the phone.
Yeah.
What? Say that. Wait. Say that again.
Okay, I'm gonna do this slow.
Say that again.
I will do this slow.
Okay. I want everybody to hear.
Yeah.
It. Okay.
Yeah. The purpose of Planned Parenthood. I mean, have you ever heard of Margaret Sanger?
Go ahead.
Have you ever heard of Margaret Sanger?
Ahead.
Up and down would be yes.
Go
No,
ahead.
I know you haven't.
No, go ahead.
Margaret Sanger is the person that was the founder or the architect of Planned Parenthood. And her goal, her writing, her words, look it up, Rich, here it comes. Ready? We're going to put abortion clinics in the inner city, and we're going to get black preachers to conspire with this effort to eliminate the black race, because we want blacks to go in, have abortions, and eliminate the black race. That's the history of the abortion movement, Rich. So do your homework, and we can pivot to global warming, because you know who started that mess? It was the Nazis, Rich. You don't want to hear that, but do you start to see? Remember the NRA? How many people in the NRA committed any of these murders, any of these mass murders? None.
Judy, you got to get me on camera. You got to get me on camera.
You know what the history of the NRA is? They came out in support of
blacks. Got to get us a
blacks.
2-shot.
They came out in support of blacks, so blacks could have guns to defend themselves. The NRA is the champion of the blacks, and the Democrats hate blacks, and they hate the Jews.
Dave, you just settled the problem. You know the way we get rid of assault weapons?
How's that?
Start letting black people buy them.
Well, I don't get that. What do you mean?
A black dude with an AR-15 has got to be your worst nightmare.
Why is that? So you're a racist.
So if we know. No. So if we start,
you just took a shot at a black person being unable to carry a weapon. See, the NRA
No.
I believe in black people. And the NRA believes in black people.
Dave,
and you think a black person with a gun is my worst nightmare.
Dave,
I think they're my best friend.
You look at a cop presented with a black dude with an AR-15 on a city street, legal carry.
Where's that? Where's that?
I've seen
Where
it.
is that?
I've seen it on Facebook.
Where is that? Oh, so you believe Facebook?
Well, because
where are your facts? So you're relying on Facebook.
Well, I
Rich.
don't remember the town and the city, but the cops were there, and you could see the actual town. And I forget where, and that's my fault. Okay, but they showed that clip, and they showed the black guy.
Okay.
Get on the ground.
Okay.
Hands behind your back.
Okay.
The girlfriend's going, he's got a license.
Yeah.
He's got all the he's got everything. They treated him like a what?
How you tell me?
Like a Nigger. They made him suck the dirt.
Dude, I do think you're a racist.
Now,
I do.
I seen another one.
Seriously, I see it in your
where
face.
another guy's walking with an AR-15 strapped over. The cop walks up to him and he goes, "Why are you walking around with this?" He goes, "It's because it's my constitutional right." He goes, "Yeah, you're right. It's your constitutional right, but can you do us a favor? Can you go walk somewhere else where you're not scaring people?" So the black guy has to suck mud, and the white guy is politely asked to leave. Same weapon, same circumstance.
Yeah.
So if you want to have fun,
so you can't name the time and the place. I mean, I don't even know how to refute it. Was there a caller calling?
Got a quick one. This is a question for Rich. Rich, how did and why did the NRA start? I know you're jumping into the race stuff there. How did it start? Thank you, Rich. Looking forward to your
you're welcome.
answer.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, the NRA started back, towards the Civil War, when they wanted to protect people's rights to be able to use a musket,
people.
you know?
Yeah.
Black people, yeah.
No, it was. Because Southern Democrats were,
Southern Democrats. So here we're going to go with this now.
Okay,
Where the Southern
Democrats,
where the parties flipped over, and where everything changed after Kennedy got into
See,
office.
yeah, I mean, I
right?
can tell you're trying to revise
Dad.
Democrat history. Caller, what's the question?
Hey, you guys know who this is.
No, I don't.
Over the top of each other. Make the show good. One person at a time. You know exactly who this dude is, right?
I'm going to call it Mike the producer.
You got it.
I got to tell you, you are a fabulous producer. Just got to tell you.
Thank you. I tried.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right, so getting back to what you said about putting abortion clinics in black neighborhoods.
Yeah, 100%. You're going to go home tonight. I know what's going to happen. You're going to go home tonight and you're going to think, I finally got him. I finally got him, folks. Dave Streit's going to be wrong for the first time in television history.
Let me
and
ask
then
you this.
you're going to be enlightened because you're going to go, oh, shoot, he's right again. Doggone. You're not going to be able to sleep tonight, Rich. You're not going to be able to sleep. He's right again.
Oh, boy. How's our time? Oh, we're doing good.
Yeah,
All right.
tons of
Well,
time.
wait a minute. As long as we're having fun.
I don't think your heart's going to be able to handle me debunking your whole global warming nonsense. So anyway, we'll keep going on this if you want. Go ahead.
No, but no, let's do that. Let's have some fun with some global warming. And guys, the one thing that I always say about whenever I debate a conservative is I always try to break the conversation down to science. And you're going to say, well, Rich, why would you want to break it down to science? Because science is the one thing that we can prove with certainty. And of course, Dave is a Republican, and he believes that we have more than one planet, that we have a planet B. And he believes that burning fossil fuels, there's no consequences, and there shouldn't be any taxes paid for burning it. And Dave, supposedly, he said he's golfed with one of the Koch brothers, the biggest proponents of the fossil fuel industry.
That's silliness. But
So, Dave, let's look at things scientifically.
Yes, common ground.
Okay,
We're going for science. Ready for this?
Let's see.
How old is planet Earth?
How old is planet Earth? That's a good question. It's 4.5 billion years old.
Yeah, I came here and I was on the internet before I came here, and there were about 35 different estimates in terms of how old planet Earth is.
Yeah, well, it's...
But isn't it science? So here's the basis
but see,
of
the
science.
thing is, see what science does, Dave.
Yeah.
Science gets things to a degree, and
Really?
even things.
Or in case of global warming,
and even
a real
things.
degree.
Wait a minute, hold on. Even things that are a known certainty. Okay, like the theory of relativity.
Yeah.
Okay, we know that to be certain, but you know what? When we declare it certainty, we'll say to a 99.99% certainty.
Really?
And you know why? Because you always leave that little tiny bit. But let's talk about facts. What's the hottest year in record globally? Globally now.
Okay, we're going globally.
Globally. What's the hottest year in recorded history?
So I just really, you really got to know that with science, the basis of science is that it has to be repeatable and observable.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. So
you have thermometers at your house, don't you?
I have thermometers at my house.
Okay. You watch the news, don't you?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
You know who NASA is, don't you?
Yeah.
You know who NOAA is?
Yeah.
Okay.
And who pays for their research?
Pays for their research?
Yeah.
The taxpayers do. Yeah. And have you ever known NASA or NOAA to get it wrong?
All the time.
All the time, yeah. To what degree?
Do you remember
to what degree do they get it?
Well, a lot of degrees to be exact. So you remember last Wednesday morning when I came to work Wednesday morning, and the overnight forecast for snowfall in Danbury had been raised to 15 inches for Wednesday. By Wednesday night, we had less than an inch. So my point is that if the forecast, they can't get the forecast right for one day, for a 12-hour period, how much of my money am I going to spend on some hypothetical illusion?
Dave, it's not hypothetical and it's not an illusion.
Okay.
What you do is you look at the evidence, and the evidence tells us.
What does the evidence tell you?
To a certain degree.
So, okay,
wait a minute, now hold the phone now. The hottest year.
Yeah.
And everybody, Judy, get everything, get us all on camera. Got to be quick, kid.
No,
Push
no,
the-
leave the camera
push
right
those
where it is.
buttons.
Right
There you
on
go.
me. Ignore Richie.
There you go. Guys, the hottest year in recorded history was 2016.
Really?
Holy
And that's
mackerel.
reliable?
Reliable.
Okay.
Reliable.
Can you?
Not only does NASA confirm it, NOAA, had cut
You're
for
gonna have to,
the Japanese.
You're going to have to tell me. You will have to tell me
Uh-huh.
how they determine the temperature on planet Earth.
How they, with the thermometer.
Where
And
do
they
they
use
stick
satellites too.
it? Where do they stick that thermometer?
Well, they stick it all over the place.
Really?
Most of it, believe
See,
it
I was
or
a kid one
most
day,
of
and they
it-
take my temperature.
Yeah.
I didn't really like that.
believe it or not, most of the temperature data,
Yeah,
this is going to shock you.
yeah,
It's done by buoys in the ocean.
yeah,
Because you know why?
yeah,
75%
yeah.
of the world
Yeah.
is water.
Okay.
So we're better to measure temperature than in the ocean. So we
Yes.
have these buoys that
Yeah.
constantly feed us data and information,
Yeah.
feeds it up to satellites.
We gotta have
Satellites
satellites.
confirm it.
Oh, we like
Now,
satellites.
yeah,
What do satellites do, though? Do satellites
well,
measure the
satellites
temperature?
tell us specifically what's happening.
What,
Are you
like
going to
what?
tell me that you can't trust a satellite? You'd rather
So,
trust
do they have, like,
one of the
this-
Koch brothers?
This laser beam that they shoot at planet Earth and take its temperature, like one of those little guns, like a red thing? How do they take the temperature from a satellite?
Dave, you know, if you
No, this is science, Rich.
Yeah,
I'm
but
trying to get on your level
Dave,
here.
Dave,
I'm climbing, man, as
Dave,
fast
yeah,
as
but
I can.
Dave, I don't know all the specifics of how.
But it's
the
science
next
and
thing,
you believe in
yeah,
it
but
and
the
you wanna
next thing
spend
you're going to
trillions
ask
of
me is,
dollars on it.
what's the satellite made out of? Aluminum? Yeah, I mean that's just
I never
crazy.
thought about that, but
If
that's a
you
good
get,
question.
yeah, but well, do you ever think about anything? That's what I want
So,
to
okay,
know.
so here are some diagrams, and you can have your pick on which diagram is the best depiction of global warming. Okay, so we're right there. So the big yellow thing in the corner, that's the sun. And then there are rays coming down to planet Earth, heating up the planet. And then when the heat tries to escape, all of a sudden it hits greenhouse gases.
That's right. That's what happens.
Okay, that's a possibility, right?
That's not a possibility. That's
Really?
science. That's
kind
what
of theory.
happens.
Okay.
That's what happens.
don't-
Plain and simple.
I don't mean to tell
It's
you this,
plain
but
and
you're about to
simple.
look really stupid. So, or you can have this diagram, which is kind of the same thing, but not really, okay? So I get online before I come over here and I say, look, I've met my match with Rich, and I have got to really dig in on it. And you know what? I found about 30 different diagrams that try to convey this whole thing on global warming. So here's just a couple of other pictures, because this is TV and people like to see it visually. So do you remember back in 1968? I mean, you said it's been warming since 1968, right?
No, it
oh,
certainly
oh
has.
my gosh, heating right up.
Certainly.
Okay, so here's a picture, and you're going to see on one side, you're going to see 1968. Well, that's Los Angeles, and it's covered in smog. Well, it was really cold back then. And here's 2005, and the air is just spotless. And
Dave,
it's a really warm.
all right.
So here's another one, 1968, Los Angeles, can't breathe. Oh my gosh, it's so cold. Rich, here's what is the concentration of CO2 in the atmosphere right now?
I think it's 412 parts per million.
Yeah, that's
Per million.
I literally
Trace amount.
That's why I
Trace
sleep
amount.
with my Glock, because that terrifies me.
Now,
Okay,
now,
so
Dave, wait,
what's
no,
the
no, no,
right
hold the
amount?
phone. No,
What's the
no.
right amount?
You showed your little pretty pictures.
They already
now,
have good pictures,
No,
you
now
know
it's
what
my
I'm saying?
turn. My turn.
Caller,
You're gonna
what's the
call-
question?
No, you're going to have to hold on, caller. Now,
Yeah.
we both agreed that the parts per million of CO2 in the atmosphere is 400.
I got it right
is
here, 400, exact, almost
Well, it's
on
more.
the
It's
money.
4. No, because it went up. It went up again. So I think it's 412.
Okay.
Now, 100 years ago,
Yeah.
what was the amount of carbon in the atmosphere? It was about 300.
Okay.
Now, Dave, you're a mathematician, aren't
Yeah.
you? What percent increase is that?
So
It's a 33% increase
what are you trying to tell
in
me?
less than 100 years.
Okay.
What I'm telling you quite specifically is in all of history,
Yeah.
we've never seen the amount of CO2 go in the air this quickly, and we've never seen the world warm as quickly as it is today. Last point. Dave, if you wanted to find out what was going on with global warming, who would you want to ask? You'd want to ask the climate scientists who are publishing peer-reviewed studies that prove what's happening.
Caller, what's your question?
Somebody needs, Rich, somebody needs to explain to your guest that climate is different from weather, and weather has nothing to do with global climate, except in the location where you happen to be at that moment.
Well, he's one of the simple folk.
Yeah.
We're working on it. But
I mean, you make some very broad painted statements, right?
not broad painted.
Yeah,
These are very specific. We've never seen
the best
CO2 go up in the atmosphere this quickly. You know what's even worse,
What's
Dave?
that?
Not only when the air goes into when the CO2 goes into the atmosphere, where does it end up?
Oh my gosh!
It ends
in
up
plants.
It ends up. The lion's share of it ends
Those
up.
poor plants.
No,
they started to death without it.
It ends up in the ocean. And what happens when you put
CO2 in water?
in the oceans?
What?
You start to create a carbonate. And what
Really?
happens is the seashells cannot form their protective shells.
Really?
That's why you're seeing the coral
Poor
reef.
shell.
You're seeing these reefs bleached out. Why? Because
I
the
thought it was
carbon that
copper
we're
tone and
putting in
suntan
the air.
lotion. That's what I heard.
You thought what?
It was copper tone and suntan lotion.
No, stop it.
No, I'm seriously. People load up with suntan lotions and go swimming around coral reefs.
But why?
And that oil coats the coral reef.
When you want to study a science
Yeah.
like global warming, why would you put up pictures
Caller, what's the
that you
question?
got off from a internet website?
So here was the problem.
Why
Caller,
would
do you have a question?
We got a question.
Yeah.
Patrick Moore, Canadian activist, former president of Greenpeace.
Yeah. What about him?
Why does he talk about the entire environmental movement, including NOAA scientists, NOAA science and NASA scientists, abandon science and logic in the favor of emotion and sensationalism? Rich, why is he doing that? Thank you.
That's a really good point.
Yeah,
so the
that
head of
is a very good.
Greenpeace
Head of Greenpeace for 3
says
months.
this whole thing is
They
ridiculous.
kicked him out.
Yeah.
Now the guy's got no job.
Yeah.
He's got nothing to do. So what does he do?
What's that?
He becomes a Willie Huxon, where he gets paid hundreds of thousands of dollars.
This is too
Where
funny.
he gets paid hundreds of $1,000s from the
Yeah.
fossil fuel industry to trick people like you. And
Really?
you know what bothers me?
Really?
The fact that you never sat down and
Yeah.
you said, let me see what the National Academy of Sciences has to say about global warming. Oh,
So-
geez, they confirm that it's happening.
So you know that 30,000 scientists have signed a declaration saying that man is not contributing to global warming, and over 1,000 scientists have said that there's no global warming at all.
Dave, how many scientists?
But you want to get
how
rid
many
of those
scientists are there in the whole world?
guys. Well, the ones you're going to reference are all the ones that want to get funded and want special
What do you
grants.
get funded for? What? Who's going to
For
fund
the
them?
research. I'll give you an example.
Doing research? You mean for doing research for taking thermometer readings? The guy sitting at
I'm
NASA
nervous
that's
about
going.
those thermometers. I know where they go.
I know,
Okay?
and the guy that's saying, "Hey, listen, the satellite told us today that was 82 degrees in Danbury."
Mhm.
You know what?
Satellites don't read temperature.
The local TV station told us it was 82. Hey, you know what? The radio station said, "Hey, you know what? My thermometer says 82." How come all these thermometers say the same thing? Oh, because they can't lie. They're not
Really?
Republican. Thermometers don't have a D or an
So
R on the
thermometers
back
are
of them.
Democrats.
No,
Is that right?
the
Makes perfect
thermometer
sense.
is a measuring machine.
Okay, so-
Something you guys
Ready for
hate.
this? What happens? So what's the right amount of CO2 for planet Earth?
What's the right amount?
So if we're 400 and I'm supposed to sleep, in fear every night, allowing you to pick my pocket because it's 400 parts per million, what's the right amount?
Who is picking your pocket? Where are you coming up with this idea?
Because they
that
want to
some-
tax CO2 emissions.
Because because they want. You see how it's built into the brain? They're coming after me. They want. Nobody's taxed you.
You said at the
Nobody-
start of the show when we started talking about global
Dave,
warming.
you said that they want to take the money out of you. Nobody's taking money
You
out of your
said
pocket.
you want to
Nobody.
tax people
Yeah.
based on CO2 emissions.
Yeah.
That's picking my
Yeah.
pocket. Caller, what's the question?
I got a question for both Dave
Yes.
and for Rich, and I want you both to answer the question.
Yeah.
Your obviously ideologically very opposed, and we talk the words about common ground, but you're going after each other. I got a question for both of you.
Mhm.
I'd like you each to tell me who's a good politician. Rich, you got to have some. Dave, I'm sure you have some. Who's a good politician? Thank you.
Bernie Sanders. He's the only one. He'll be your next president. Stick around.
That's assuming he doesn't go to jail with his wife, right?
What's he going to go to jail for?
You're not aware of the investigation?
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
There's a grand
Benghazi,
jury.
Right? He's the one that did
There's
Benghazi.
a grand jury, Rich, investigating his wife. Why? Because his wife was on the board, was the president of the college, and she wanted money.
So we're going to
and called
talk
up
about
Bernie.
Wait a minute. Was she hooking up with a porn star? Was there a $130,000 payout?
Rich.
Come on, Dave.
There's a grand jury investigating her, and you want him to be president. Just say, okay, so I want to get back to this parts per million thing.
Sure.
What's the right amount?
What-
400 is supposed to keep me up at night, right, and terrify me. What's the right amount?
Dave.
It's science, Rich. And give me a range in history on parts per million. It's science.
Well, Dave, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you right now, but you know what I can do?
But you know I can, because I came prepared.
Dave, I can look it up.
Number one.
And then when I look it up, you know what I'm going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to cite my source. So let's see what source you're going to cite now.
I'm going to give this to you, Rich.
Well, let's just cite it.
You know what? And you're going to go home and do the research.
Just tell me.
And you're going to say, he's right again. I can't stand it.
Dave, just tell me.
I hope you have Valium for
What's
night.
the source?
So,
What's the source?
This is the, let's see here. Hang on a second.
Name your source.
I'm just going to give it to you. You can look it up.
Yeah, you're going to give me something.
Yeah, it's the guy is named P. Goslin, and he did this report in May of 2013.
Me and him.
Caller, what's the question?
I know who's better, David. You. Because you're the best man in town, David.
Simon, thanks a bunch, buddy. See ya. Okay, so here's, I don't know what the right answer is. What I do know is...
You said you did.
Well, I can tell you the research I pulled, and I can give you a range.
According to your research.
You can look...
So you mean your research is going to be different from mine?
Well, you don't have research, number
Dave,
one.
see, that's why I asked you to cite your source.
So I'm going to give this to you, and then you can dig into it, okay?
Yeah, but no, see, the thing is, from now on,
you can't.
Now on, you're going to, before you come on to a show,
really,
and embarrass yourself, you're going to say, you're going to say to guys,
so
before I come on, I better make sure that I've got my I's dotted and my T's crossed, and I don't make a fool out of myself by saying I'm getting facts from somebody when I can't cite the source that I'm getting them. You know what? I heard somebody tell me, I heard global warming isn't real, and if I heard that, that's all I need to know.
Okay. Caller, what's the question?
Yeah, Rich, why do you want to waste your time with this jerk? He's not taking any of this seriously.
Yeah, but maybe somebody watching will be, and that's the important part. I'm not going to change Dave's mind, but maybe somebody will say, you know what, Dave, you've gone off the deep end, kid. They're going to feel sorry for you.
You think?
Well, I mean, really.
Send your sympathy cards to Reality. What's the name of the show?
Thanks for the call.
The truth. Okay, so here's my perspective, and you can have fun with this all day long. The research I did said that the ranges of CO2 on planet Earth, and I'm a huge agnostic on these numbers, just because I don't think you can historically prove or demonstrate what they've been. Temperatures on planet Earth only achieved some degree of reliability since the late 1800s. Prior to that, we did not have temperature gauges around the world. And the ones that are around the world today are pretty questionable. I spent a lot, but here's the range on parts per million on CO2. 170 parts per million to 7,000. Okay. I argue today at 400, and this is the thesis of numerous articles and research I read, is that we are dangerously low on CO2 right now. In order to keep up with the global food supply, to meet the growing demand of the population, you have to double the yields on planet Earth. The only way you're going to do that is by dramatically increasing the concentration of CO2. And the reason I brought up those diagrams, Rich, is
Uh-huh.
because all of them show the heat from the sun zipping right through the CO2 and warming the Earth, but then when the gases try and escape, they're blocked by the CO2.
There you go.
Right?
That's
Okay,
the idea.
so this is remarkably stupid because those same rays in their diagram are blasting through the CO2. In my mind, the more CO2, the less the heat is getting through to the planet.
No. The CO,
That would be too logical, I know.
CO2 traps. It traps the heat.
Okay, it traps it.
The idea
Then
is,
how
you're
does
right.
it get through it in the first place?
It reflects back off.
So the
and
more
then
you have, the
and
better.
it has a warming effect. Yes, it does.
So
Okay.
the more CO2,
Very
the
simple.
better.
Very simple. You take
You're
two,
coming around on
You
this,
take
Rich.
two containers.
Yeah.
Two empty containers.
Yeah.
You put a tube with CO2 in one of them, and you leave the other one alone. You shine a light on it.
Yeah.
Which one heats up fastest? The one with the CO2.
Really? The one? Really?
Because the CO2, it's science.
Really?
It's provable.
But
it's repeatable. Now, what years did we reach 7,000 parts per million on CO2?
Rich.
Probably the Jurassic period, right? When the temperature of the Earth
Yeah.
was so much hotter.
Really?
So,
Isn't the
but
Jurassic
you see-
period when we had all those plants and animals?
But Dave, see what you
No. This is going to
don't.
be my point of this whole thing. So give me just 1 second here.
Uh-huh.
So the Jurassic period, we had tens of thousands more species on the planet than we do now. That's a fact.
We don't know that.
I'll tell you
but
one.
we don't know that. But
Well,
God.
I don't know. When was the last time you had a T-Rex walk through your backyard?
Yeah, well, but we don't
I don't know.
We don't know the
So here's what really concerns me. The normal extinction rate of species on planet Earth is around 5 a year. That's normal. Right now-
Wait. Once again, where are you getting these numbers from?
Rich, this
Dave, you just pull them out of your ass. Come on.
Really?
Be honest.
Oh, I'm trying to avoid the thermometer thing. You know what I mean?
extension rate
Okay,
is five,
I
is
just-
5 species per year?
Yeah.
But
No,
if you-
that's
no.
normal. What we're
That's
experiencing,
normal?
That's normal. What we're experiencing right now is an extinction rate of around 30 to 35. Right?
I have no idea.
Okay, well,
I have no idea.
look, this is a free education tonight to
Well,
get me
can
back
you
on
cite
for
your
more of
source
an
on that
education.
either? No.
But
what?
Rich,
But nothing.
I didn't see you pull out a single document here today. The entire
Dave,
hour that we've been
Dave,
here,
Dave,
you've spewed stuff
Dave.
out and didn't bring one.
What-
Oh, look at this
Dave,
one.
Dave.
Oh, and here's this one on global climate. It has NASA on the logo on the parts per million.
Okay, it can,
Right?
Dave,
It's kind of a good deal.
it can have NASA on the label, but
It's
what
a
is
quote
it
from
saying?
NASA. I
But
mean,
but what does it say?
well, it just said that we're at 407 parts per million.
Okay, well,
So I'm creating.
and there's a chart, and what
Yeah.
does that chart tell you? Look at that, guys. Let's
Yeah.
just see, guys. If you could see this, all right. It's going up at a 45-degree angle, and Dave is going to tell you that through his superior knowledge
That's
that this isn't going to affect the planet.
Just a thought. If that's a 45-degree angle, I don't want you building my
Well,
house.
yeah, okay.
I'm just thinking
But-
out
but
loud here.
But it's not a straight line, and that's what you're trying to tell people.
I'm not.
And the
I'm not
thing
trying
is,
to tell them
you
anything.
know,
All I'm saying is that
well,
today it's
But Dave,
407.
we can prove. I mean, we can prove this. We can cite it.
Really?
We can get every day. We can get the data from Mauna Loa, Hawaii. How many parts per million are in the atmosphere?
Mauna
You can't-
Loa. Have you
yeah,
ever been
yeah,
there?
that's where the main
Have you ever seen that
monitoring
thermometer?
station is.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So-
you see, the thing is, we measure this stuff.
So you haven't been able to tell me. I'm supposed to be terrified at 407 parts per million.
Dave,
You can't tell me the right number.
Dave, the oceans are rising. The
Well,
glaciers are
Al Gore
retreating.
Al Gore said New York City would be
It
underwater by
was
2016.
It was underwater already. Look what happened at Hurricane Sandy. The whole underwater
Really?
thing flooded. Gore said it would do it, and what happened?
He said we'd have
Bada bing. Just
Wow.
what he said.
He said we'd have a hurricane. No.
No, he didn't say no.
No.
He said
He said
when waters rise
Yeah.
to this level,
Yeah.
the New York City subways at the World Trade Center will
Yeah.
flood.
Yeah.
And the waters
funny.
rose
Yeah.
to the exact level that he said. And
Really?
you know what, Dave?
Yeah.
It's physics. You can't fool Mother Nature.
Okay, so where's
When
the
the
water level
water-
today?
Well, the water
The
level,
same.
the water level went back
Okay,
down.
here's my forecast.
But Dave,
Anytime we
don't-
have a hurricane,
Uh-huh.
you're going to get a storm surge and water levels will rise.
Dave,
That must be
Dave,
global warming.
what's happening
No?
now is
Huh.
we have what's called the Clausius-Clayton equation. By warming the globe,
Well, I'd be able to sleep
by
at night.
making the globe
Yeah,
warmer,
yeah,
all right,
yeah.
the atmosphere is
Yes.
now able
Yes.
to hold more water vapor.
Well, that's good.
No.
We like
don't-
water vapor.
No. Don't ask the people in Houston, Texas this year if they love water vapor. When all those poor bastards were up to their ass in water and everybody had to get a new oil burner, a new water heater, new plumbing. And why? Because
It's Trump's
we
fault.
put,
You blame everything on
Be-
Trump. Must have been Trump's fault.
no,
Wasn't
it's
Trump's
global.
fault?
No,
Okay.
it's the fact that we're putting
What's the difference
that we're
between global
burning
warming
carbon.
and climate change? What's the difference between global warming and
As
climate
the
change?
globe warms,
Yeah.
the climate changes. It's physics.
Really?
Dave, do you know when you heat up water? If you have water in a
It
bowl,
expands. I bet it
it
expands.
it does.
Yeah,
It does. And
yeah.
you know what happens when ice melts?
What?
When if you put ice on a continental shelf and it melts, you know where the water goes?
Where?
It goes in the ocean.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and
We
that's
like
what,
water, though.
and-
What do you have against
yeah.
water?
Well, because most of our cities are built on the coast.
Yeah.
And you see what's happening in Florida.
What's
At
happening?
high tide now, fish are swimming in the street in Florida.
Really?
Why? Because
Do you mean I can fish off my front porch?
Without a doubt.
I'm buying a
Without-
place there.
Well, you're not going to want to pay. You're not going to want to pay to live there because they have to raise the streets 4 feet.
Have you seen what?
And who's paying for that?
Have you seen?
Where is that money coming from?
Well, it ain't
The-
from you. It's
From
from
the
me.
fossil fuel industry. Are they paying for any
Okay.
of the damage they
Have you ever
cause?
thought about how stupid the notion of fossil fuels is?
No.
Is that about the dumbest concept
Fossil
ever?
fuels is what causes
So
this
you're telling me
problem.
the dinosaurs from the Jurassic Age somehow all died in the same spot, and then they were compressed, and we got carbon deposits that turned into like billions and billions and billions of oil.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what. But you know,
Really?
not only
And this
that-
stuff is like 3 and 4 and 5 miles below the surface of the earth.
Yeah, you know,
You'd have to pile a lot of leaves down there. How'd they get the
Yeah,
leaves
yeah,
down there?
Dave,
I don't know.
we had billions of years to do it.
Really? But you don't know how many billion.
Well, we 4 point something. That's
point-
good enough
see?
for me.
No, but it's
That's good enough for me. 4.53. I
It's
don't
been
know.
a pleasure to be on Rich's show tonight. I hope the
We'll do it
education is
again next
appreciated.
week. And remember, cite your sources. Dave will never forget.
Yeah,
See you next
the
week,
guy that
everybody.
brought all the reports. Rich, where's your research?
Hey, that was